Hey, welcome to it. So this has been a big a tradition, I guess, in D.C. with the White House since Rutherford B. Hayes. Did you know that? You know, it's been going on, the Easter egg roll that long.
It'd be shocking to hear I've not put that much thought into it.
You haven't.
You looked up the Rutherford B. Hayes history?
Yes. Well,
it's impressive.
I looked up how long this has been going on, and it dates back to Rutherford B. Hayes.
Now, did Rutherford B. Hayes...
who's everybody's favorite president?
He's actually my second.
Is he your second?
John Tyler.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm a big John Tyler guy.
John, really?
Who was also, by the way, a president. A lot of people don't know that.
What about James Buchanan? He's got to be in there somewhere, right?
I have him fourth.
Okay. Most people have him 47th.
Yes, a lot of people do. Did Rutherford B. Hayes need the dressed-up Easter bunny to guide him to the proper location like Joe Biden did?
Actually, no.
Okay.
Surprisingly, he was able to handle that on his own.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
And so, in fact, was Donald Trump, who addressed the crowd at the White House yesterday.
Speaking of special, Easter is special, and it's one of our favorite days. It's one of our favorite periods of time. We're honoring Jesus Christ, and we're going to honor Jesus Christ very powerfully throughout our lives, all throughout our lives, not just now, all throughout our lives. We're bringing religion back in America. We're bringing a lot of things back, but religion is coming back to America. That's why you see the kind of numbers that you're seeing, the spirit and the kind of numbers that you're seeing.
That's a very strange visual there. That's a message that I think many of us, most of us, would agree on.
Yes.
It's him, and it's beautiful Melania. They're standing on this balcony, and then they're standing next to a human-sized Easter bunny, just standing right next to them. It's a very strange visual. But it's nice to see that we have an administration who actually acknowledges that religion exists, for example.
And on Easter, what it's actually about. It's actually not about the bunny that was standing next to them, which is shocking to some.
Really?
I know. But actually talked about what Easter is about, which is incredible. You never got that from Joe Biden, that's for sure, or Barack Obama. So it's really refreshing. And then, of course, the Trumps started the Easter egg roll itself yesterday. Look at him holding hands
there. Strange tradition.
Yeah,
they're just rolling eggs on the grass
with a spoon.
I mean, obviously, the thing you're supposed to do is look for eggs. You hunt them.
Yeah.
And there's candy inside of them. That's the appropriate thing. And our government's like, what if we roll them on the ground?
And I guess the left is all pissed off about the fact that they actually used real eggs yesterday.
Yeah, that was...
wow.
What a charming reminder that none of this means anything. After a year of denying that egg prices meant anything at all, now all of a sudden they're upset about them.
Now it's the most important thing.
Now that they're down like 50 or 60%. Now that it's really vitally important to your future.
How dare you use eggs? Do you know how expensive those are?
Ugh, despicable.
Well, it's amazing that you know how expensive they are because you didn't acknowledge that when they were $8 and $9 a dozen just a while ago under your guy.
No worries whatsoever when it had something to do with their power.
Now, you do eat eggs, right?
I do.
You do eat eggs.
I eat your cookies, Kexi cookies, which I assume have eggs in them.
They do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. And it's...
By the way, I had one, was that a carrot cake cookie?
Yeah.
Oh, my,
cake.
Incredible.
Mm-hmm. It's good for you. It's actually good for you. It's got carrot slices in it.
It does have carrot slices in it.
So
that's not really the part I was focusing on in the cookie.
What part were you focusing?
The deliciousness.
Okay.
The time, because my son's
I think this month.
My son is a carrot cake fiend.
Oh, really?
This kid, I don't know how he got into this. Anywhere we go that has carrot cake on the menu, he has to order it.
Wow.
And I took a bite of that one, not knowing what it was. It was in an unwrapped package, and that you nicely let us have. And I took a bite. I was like, I got to save this for my son because he's a fiend, and he loved it. Loved the carrot cake cookie. So that's a separate. It's got nothing to do with the Easter egg roll, but go to Kexi.com and get the carrot cake cookie.
But still, so while it was $8 and $9 a dozen, and there was absolutely no problem whatsoever with the left, with the Democrats. They didn't even Did they even acknowledge the fact that there was massive inflation on eggs and they went up 400%? I don't think so. And now it's come down to the point where I think the latest number I saw nationwide was something like $2.97 a dozen or something. So
it's come down quite a bit.
Come down a lot. And now is the time when they go nuts and talk about how dare you spend that kind of money on eggs?
Yeah, they said coloring potatoes to save money. Like, were they?
They colored potatoes?
I mean, did that really happen? Maybe it did. I mean, did that really occur?
I want to hear from one person
who's like, you know what? These
colored
eggs are too
potatoes.
expensive.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm going to color these potatoes. Are potatoes that much cheaper? I don't know. Maybe they are, and I haven't paid that much attention.
You should. You own a company that uses a lot of eggs.
Not a lot of potatoes, though.
Not a lot of potatoes.
I don't know that there's potatoes a lot of potato product in our cookies.
That's probably why. I mean, you very well could be the cause of this problem. If there's a butter shortage, too, we know what's going on.
But that was the other thing during the egg situation when they were $8, $9 a dozen. Sometimes they weren't even available.
Yeah.
I went to, I don't know, Kroger or Tom Thumb, one of the grocery chains here, and they had like 1 dozen of eggs. I mean, it was amazing. You know, usually you can get 18 in a container, you can get 12 in a container, you can get all different one kind of eggs for a while. I mean, there was a real shortage because they killed 100 million chickens.
But just 100 million?
Just 100 million, though.
Okay,
yeah, I mean, who would have guessed that would make a serious dent in the egg situation in this country?
Yeah.
Who saw that coming? Come on.
It's shocking. Shocking to who could believe it. I will say that there is an expectation of abundance in this country.
Yeah, there is. Yes,
and
very much so.
That's because, you know,
there's always been abundance,
blessed, but also one of the reasons we've been blessed is the divinely inspired creation of capitalism, which has brought incredible abundance to this country. And it's strange when you go to a store and you can't find something. And the fact that is something that we've dealt with recently, a lot, by the way, especially since COVID. I mean, through that COVID era, we had a lot of these supply chain disruptions. And again, we're kind of in a period now with some economic tumult, if you will. I think we may be facing some of those situations again. And it's shocking. It's just not what we're supposed to have here. We're supposed to be the country that is able to always have what we need and what we want. And, you know, I guess we're back in the okay area with eggs these days. But you don't know what's around the corner. It does seem like we keep running into these things, whether it's medication or toilet paper or eggs, whatever it is. There seems to be a new one around the corner all the time lately.
I've had multiple situations with medication that's not available. Man, had to wait 2 weeks for it. Yeah,
I've had some too.
Yeah,
it's not fun.
It's not, and it could get worse than that. I mean, you know, we're in this little battle with China, and they manufacture almost all of our medication, and that could be a problem at some point.
Now, in what way?
What
way could possibly go wrong?
Just say, you know what? Scenario? We're not going to deliver any more medication to no more pharmaceuticals to the United States. How do you like that? I wouldn't like that.
Yeah,
that would be very bad.
And it's fascinating because if the way that. And this is happening with a lot of the other countries in the world. They're all worried because China's not going to just stop manufacturing them and exporting them.
Right.
What they're going to do is just pound these markets all over the country, all over the world. When we are not doing trade with them, they're going to pound them with really cheap products, and that's going to play with their economies as well. No one's going to be happy with this situation. But I do think, like, when you talk about the trade thing, that's a great way to focus this. What are the products that we do need? Right? Like, toys are important.
Yeah.
Kids like them. I've noticed over the years they seem to be fans of them. But, like, I don't know that necessarily should be our long-term target here. You know,
toys should not be our long-term target.
Toys, paper plates, like these things. Again, I'm not. If you happen to be a company that's, there are American toy companies. I don't know if there's American paper plate companies. Maybe there are. If there are, good for you. That being said, I don't know that should be our focus. If you think about things that we really need to, medication's a great example of it. You don't want to be relying on your adversary for all of the things that make your heart continue to beat. You know what I mean? You kind of...
And we've gotten ourselves into a situation where we're wholly reliant on them for that. That and the metal situation, the rare earth minerals situation that we're in now, because we haven't been mining it. I mean, we have some pretty good areas where we're well stocked in rare earth minerals. We're just not mining them, and because of the regulations, and we don't want to tear up the earth, and all of these things that we've just ceded to the left. All right, we won't do that. Okay, we'll declare that off limits. All right. I mean, we just found this huge deposit in Wyoming of rare earth minerals that they initially thought was 2.3 billion metric tons of rare earth minerals. They've revised that a little bit, but they still say it's one of the most significant finds on the planet. So why aren't we going wholeheartedly, full speed ahead into extracting those minerals?
Yeah, and I think that for politically speaking, for the Trump administration to focus on is the positive reactions to the situation that we're in, rather than talking about the tariffs as often. As they're not as they're not as popular a policy. Whether you care about that or not is you might still like them, and there's no reason to stop a policy because it's unpopular. But what you can do is focus on the positives, like, hey, we're going to not just penalize China or whatever and try to put this tariffs on rare earth minerals and such, but let's focus on how we're going to extract them from our country. Let's talk about how we're going to utilize our own resources. Let's talk about getting nuclear power going so that we don't have to worry about importing worry about long-term electricity concerns and power concerns, battery manufacturing, things of that nature, where you can kind of say, okay, we're going to go and let's focus on the things. Let's incentivize companies to come here, not because we're punishing the country they're currently in, but because we're making America a much more desirable place to do business. And those things all are part of his platform, right? It's just a matter of focus. And right now, he's obviously been focused on this thing. At some point, there has to be a conversion, a switching of the gears to a tax plan that's going to incentivize companies to want to come here. Tax cuts that wind up benefiting businesses. We talked to Stephen Moore about this, who's one of Trump's economic advisors, and he talks about this a lot. Like, the focus just publicly is a big part of this. We're seeing some polls where, approval's down. It's not a huge surprise when you're going through some economic trouble. But that can be turned around if you focus on the right side of this equation. And that's all there. It's all part of Trump's plan. Just a matter of what his advisors and what he's decided to speak about.
888-727.
Well, if you knew a massive storm was coming, you probably wouldn't leave the doors and windows of your house open. You shut them, right? You'd make sure the wind and the rain were kept out. You'd move the family inside. You'd batten down the hatches. So why wouldn't you think about your finances that way if you believe maybe your retirement is out there kind of exposed? You think an economic storm, might be coming around the corner. Gold has always been a barrier between chaos and security. By the way, gold hit $3,500 an ounce last night. First time ever in history. This has been something we've been talking to you about for years and years, and this is something that has, hopefully, if you've listened over the years, this is paying off for you now, but it's not too late. Lear Capital helps you put that barrier in place. Real physical gold, not paper promises, gold that you can hold, that retains value, even when everything else is in free fall. You wouldn't want to leave your front door open in a hurricane. You don't want to leave your financial future unprotected in an economic storm. Learn about gold, ask the questions, get prepared, prepare yourself, and call Lear Capital. Put up your hedge of protection while you still can. Give Lear Capital a call today, 800-957-GOLD, to get your free $4,200 gold report. I remember when we first started talking about that seemed way off in the distance. We're at $3,500 already. When you get called, 800-957-GOLD, ask about getting up to $15,000 in free gold or silver with a qualifying purchase. 800-957-GOLD, 800-957-GOLD. It's Lear Capital. 10-second station ID.
Pat and Stu for Glenn today. Of course, during the Easter egg roll, President Trump was asked about the Pete Hegseth situation yesterday. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth in another little controversy, and he was asked about that.
I mean, I hear they're doing that whole thing again. Here we go again. Just a waste of time. He is doing a great job.
Why do you still have confidence?
Because he's doing a great job. Thanks, Ask the Houthis how he's doing. Ask the Houthis how much this function.
That's the Houthis. And the Blowfish.
He's doing a great job.
Yeah.
Everybody's happy with him. We have the highest recruitment numbers I think they've had in 28 years. No, he's doing a great job. It's just fake news. They just bring up stories. I guess it sounds like disgruntled employees. You know, he was put there to get rid of a lot of bad people, and that's what he's doing. So you don't always have friends when you do that.
Should he stop?
Okay. So he seems to be sticking by Pete Hegseth. He's very loyal to people that are loyal to him. And Hegseth was accosted on the White House lawn, too. Here's what he said about the leakers. Cut 9.
What do you want to say, sir, about the signal chat controversy?
You know, what a big surprise that a few leakers get fired and suddenly a bunch of hit pieces come out from the same media that peddled the Russia hoax. Won't give back their Pulitzers. They got Pulitzers for a bunch of lies. Pulitzers for a bunch of lies and on hoaxes, time and time again. And as they peddle those lies, no one ever calls them on it. See, this is what the media does. They take anonymous sources from disgruntled former employees, and then they try to slash and burn people and ruin their reputations. Not going to work with me, because we're changing the Defense Department, putting the Pentagon back in the hands of warfighters, and anonymous smears from disgruntled former employees on old news doesn't matter. So I'm happy to be here at the Easter egg roll with my dad and my kids, because, you know, this is what we're doing it for. These kids right here. This is why we're fighting the fake news media. This is why we're fighting slash and burn Democrats. This is why we're fighting hoaxsters. This group, this group right here, full of hoaxsters that peddle anonymous sources from leakers with axes to grind, and then you put it all together as if it's some news story. And when we know it, we know exactly what it is. So I'm really proud of what we're doing for the president, fighting hard across the board, and I'm going to go roll some Easter eggs with my kids. Thank you very much.
There's a Kalshi market that has who is the first to be leaving the Trump cabinet, and they do have Pete Hegseth at the top, 46% chance.
Oh, wow.
Howard Lutnick is second, 18%. Scott Bessent, 8%. Marco Rubio, 5%. Pam Bondi, 4%. And on down. I mean, it's interesting because I think Trump, when these things happen, if he feels like he looks, weak or giving in to the media pressure, it's like less likely for him to.
Yeah.
Even if he didn't like Pete Hegseth,
he'll get his back
keep
up
him around
and
for a
he'll
while.
fight.
I think he does like Pete, though.
I think so.
I think it would be something that would be. It would have to be something that really pushed him over the edge to want to push Pete out.
Yeah.
Unless, Hegseth just decided to resign. I don't see... I mean, this new wave of like, oh, he was also on another Signal chat. Okay. Yeah. All right. Like, I don't know. I just don't think that's going to move the American people in some big way.
Doesn't seem to be so far. All right. 888-727-BECK. More Pat and Stu for Glenn coming up.
This is Glenn Beck.
Imagine you're sitting in traffic, not moving, not even creeping forward, just stuck. Your windows are up, your doors are locked, but you're alone, and the sun's just gone down. And you see a man walking between cars. He's coming straight toward you. You don't know what he wants, but he looks angry. And if you ran, you might outrun him. He might outrun you. If you fight, he might overpower you, but you don't have to do either, because what he doesn't know is within arm's reach, tucked into your center console, is a Byrna launcher. Looks like a firearm, but it isn't. It fires kinetic projectiles. So, you can have some that are loaded with pepper or tear gas as well. It doesn't require a background check, a waiting period. So when he tries to force your door open and crack the door window, you've got the Byrna there. You can put God forbid probably you just show it to him and it's enough. But if you have to fire it, it's going to cause confusion and disorientation, and that's what you need. Time to get away. Time without having to take a life as well. Byrna.com/Glenn. 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 You get 10% off your purchase right now. The Byrna launcher, you're going to love it. Byrna.com/Glenn.
Glenn Beck, Stu Bergier. Steve Deace, Jason Whitlock, and me, Pat Gray. Listen to all your favorite conservative voices at blazetv.com, promo code Glenn. It's Pat and Stu for Glenn today. 888-727-BECK. They've released what Pope Francis died from yesterday. He apparently had a massive stroke, and that's what killed him. Not the illness that he had leading up to this, which he'd been sick for a couple months, I think, and ailing. And so, but
they thought he was going to die a while ago. It seemed like they were preparing. Yeah. The news was preparing us for it, and then he, was able to get back.
Seems like he came back fairly strongly. I mean, he did the Easter service on Sunday.
Right. It seemed like he wanted to at least get through that.
Yeah.
And he met with J.D. Vance on Sunday as well.
Right.
The left thinks that's hilarious. By the way, the left thinks that basically J.D. Vance killed the Pope. That's basically what they think.
Basically, yes.
They think that's a hilarious storyline, which it's always funny to celebrate a death. So shocking,
isn't it?
Shocking. That's the way they went.
Yeah,
I'm stunned.
Oh my gosh! Every time
after watching their behaviors with the United Healthcare CEO's murder.
Oh my gosh!
It's shocking that they might celebrate somebody who died. But this it's a big moment for the Catholic Church. Certainly, you think about the difference between Benedict and Francis, and the very divergent paths that the Church could take here.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. Will they go along the same lines as Pope Francis was leading them, or are they going to choose a new direction? That's what's kind of going to be decided by this. From what I understand, there's 250 some cardinals, but only 135 of them are electors. So only 135 of the cardinals vote, and Pope Francis appointed 1/3 of them. So that gives him a pretty good base there to elect somebody who's going to continue his policies.
I feel like we're doing election analysis again, and we're saying, in a way, we are.
Yes, and kind of we are.
Now, I know on Pat Gray Unleashed, you often have our own Jeffy Fisher on the program. Jeffy.
Yes.
He claims each time this happens to run for Pope. Is he running for Pope this year?
He wants to.
He is.
But because of his initial run, I guess they've mandated that you must be Catholic in order to become Pope. No, yeah. And apparently that wasn't a rule before, but it is now. And he claims it's because of his run, his candidacy.
Really?
That they made the change. So
he came really close one of those years.
Really
I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah, because one year he got no votes. So that's pretty close because the winner only got 70 or something.
Yeah.
So it was
70 votes away from being Pope.
Right. I mean, that's pretty close. When you think about it, out of 8 billion people on the planet, you came within 70 votes. That's not bad.
Not bad at all.
That's not bad. But we're hoping he's going to show up in his Pope outfit tomorrow for the show for Pat Gray.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll see.
He has a Pope outfit.
He does have a Pope outfit. Because he wants to be prepared just in case he's the guy. But apparently you've got to be younger than 80. So that's another disqualifier.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely over 80.
Yeah, way over 80. So I think the lead candidate is Cardinal Peter Erdu from Budapest, Hungary, 72 years old. He's the highest ranking Catholic leader in a country that's 80% Christian. He's known for his support of the Pope's outreach to Orthodox Christians. Then you've got Cardinal Fridolin Mbango, who is the Archbishop of Kinshasa in the Republic of Congo. He's a possibility. We got Cardinal Mario Grech, Secretary General for the Synod of Bishops. There's actually 2 Americans, and I doubt that I can't imagine an American ever becoming Pope. It's never happened. But Cardinal Dolan, who is, I believe, New York based, right? And then Cardinal, who's the other one? The Joe Tobin, of course. Joe Tobin of Newark, who is one of the biggies and very influential in New Jersey. So we'll see. We'll see which direction they go. There's some Catholics who think that the Pope should actually be Catholic this time and adhere to a more Catholic doctrine this time. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It was sort of a different feel under Pope Francis than certainly it was under John Paul II. That's for sure.
Well, I just hope we have a Pope that focuses almost all of his attention on global warming. You know, Pat, today is Earth Day. Did you know that? Did you even know that?
I didn't.
I'm looking at you. You
know
you
that.
didn't even seem to know it.
Quite shocked.
Today is
Earth Day.
Yeah, the day that we celebrate the Earth,
right,
and all of the emissions that we put into it and onto it. The day partially created by a murderer who tried to compost his girlfriend.
Right? Wasn't she in his closet for a while?
For a while,
dead?
Yeah. I think he actually did compost her, which that is Earth friendly. He stuck by that all the way to the end.
It really is.
This is a day where we've been warned that by today there would be no life on Earth, basically, from the first Earth Day when they said, in decades of the future, there would be no water and no food, and we would all be burning or freezing. At that time, if it was freezing to death.
I think it was.
But then it turned into burning to death later on, a decade or so later. And you look at this, I feel like you haven't even respected the Earth. Have you prayed to the Earth at all today?
I have not.
In the sky where the tree once was. Somebody's making money.
It's true. There is
hard
a hole
to argue
in
with
the sky where the tree once was. So the tree was in the sky?
Yes. And it created, now there's a hole because I guess they cut down the tree.
Oh, right. They cut down the tree. Yeah. That's terrible.
So
you shouldn't do that. By the way, you should take a private jet to an Earth Day conference.
Yes.
To learn about why the tree isn't there anymore. That you should do on Earth Day.
But there's hardly any trees on this planet. Do you know there's only 3 trillion trees on this planet?
That's it?
Yeah. Do you know that there's
all-time low, by the way.
Only 10 or 15 times the amount of trees on this planet than stars in the Milky Way galaxy?
No, really?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
By the way, there are more trees now than there were because we've decided to plant them after we cut them down. There's this idea that, they say they like to talk about renewable resources. Trees are one of them.
Really?
You can make new ones.
Where are you getting that?
Yeah, no, it's true. Huh. Yeah, it's science, Pat.
Because I thought with what Chris Matthews said the other day about what are we going to do? Make more wood? Did you guys happen to see that? Yeah, Chris, we are. We're going to make more wood.
That's one approach.
We're going to plant trees.
Yeah.
So
that's an approach that would work. Yeah.
It would.
You making more wood is actually the core of the industry. It's really at the core of the lumber industry is making more wood. That's a fascinating. It's so bizarre. And one thing you could also do is have sensible environmental policies so you don't burn down all of your forests. And all of your beautiful oceanfront properties in places like California. That's another approach to having wood. Is not letting it all
now you bring that up. Now you bring it up.
I should have mentioned it last Earth Day. Then we would have been saved from all of this.
Yeah, but you didn't. And look what happened.
Yeah, it's really sad. What a pathetic display. It really is. And then did you see? You had Karen Bass, who's the horrible mayor of Los Angeles, and California. Had another mayor in Oakland. And they were like, we got to get rid of this mayor. It's just absolutely terrible, corruption and all this. So they recall the mayor, and who do they elect? Barbara Lee, another horrible former representative.
It's incredible. I mean, when is California going to learn?
There's just no learning curve, particularly in these large cities. Year after year after year, they just continue to elect the exact same people and are like, well, what happens if we do this again? Will we get a different result? Some people say that that's insanity when you think that way. And all of our major cities just continue to be on this plan. Like, what if we continue to elect horrible Democrat after horrible Democrat after horrible Democrat with all of the same policies. What if we try it again?
Well, you got an even better chance that you're going to completely burn down the state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so true. And there's no... We did this a while ago in one of Glenn's books. We did a study on poverty in this country. And you look at the cities with the most poverty. This is stats, probably more than a decade old now, but there hasn't been much change in this, obviously, as we just pointed out. And you look at the 10 cities with the most poverty in America. Who did they elect as mayor? Is this a Republican city? Is it a Democratic city? It was something like 8%. It had been of the time in that period over 25 years. It had been run by Republicans. 8%.
I bet it's less than that now.
It's got to be less, right? I bet it is.
Yeah.
I remember at the time, one of the cities that was in that conversation was, I believe, Miami. And Miami had a couple of Republican mayors. I don't think Miami would be in that conversation now. I don't think they'd be in the top 10. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I checked that stat. But the point being that they just keep trying Democrats over and over and over again who all believe the same things, who bring the same promises and the same policies over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And the same results happen. Everything gets worse. You
the
get
same high crime.
In debt.
In fact, crime gets worse.
Crime gets worse. Homelessness gets worse. Poverty gets worse. Education numbers drop. And yet, the next time it comes up, the Republican who, if there is even one on the ballot, gets 24% of the vote again.
And that's the case in almost every major city across the country, including in red states like Texas.
Why not try something different?
It boggles my mind.
Just be like, look, let's try it for 4 years. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Roll the dice. I mean, Trump used to say that when he was on the campaign trail. He'd be like, I don't know, guys, you see the results here? Why don't you try anything different? And he'd be like, oh, I can't believe he would say something like that. Why? Why wouldn't you try something? I mean, it just seems like...
Just makes sense.
Yeah, even try a libertarian.
Yeah.
Try something else. And what they're like, okay, we'll try something else. A socialist. That's what they do.
It's working really well for them.
Amazing.
More coming up.
You know very well that who you do business with matters. And for cell phone carriers, I love Patriot Mobile. I actually just switched my mom, helped her switch over to Patriot Mobile just the other day. They're a cell phone company that doesn't pretend to care about America because they actually do care about it. They've got the same great coverage, the same major networks as the big guys, but they don't, donate to horrible causes. How about that? Patriot Mobile does not donate to causes that offend you, that go against what you believe. Switching to Patriot Mobile means you've decided to stop paying people who work against your values. Because let's face it, you're already overpaying possibly for your phone plan. Why add insult to injury by giving that money to a company that's going to use their extra cash to donate to things that kick dirt in your face? Why would you do that? Ask yourself, if you're going to have a cell phone and pay for its service every month, shouldn't it at least come with a clean conscience? Patriot Mobile certainly thinks that it should. Patriot Mobile, it's common sense with a signal. Go to patriotmobile.com/Beck or call 972-PATRIOT. Get a free month of service with promo code Beck. Switch today. It's patriotmobile.com/Beck or call 972-PATRIOT.
Beck. We'll be right back.
For a lot of people, investing is just kind of numbers, right? It's percentages, it's stocks, it's balances, it's PE ratios, and you think back to the day, like, what am I ever going to use this kind of stuff when you were in school? But it's a game that you're supposed to play without really asking any questions, like who you're really profiting from or what your dollars are helping to build. For people who care about this country, who care about liberty, who care about faith and family and the Constitution, those questions really do matter. Constitution Wealth was built to answer them. They're a faith-driven investment firm that believes your money should work for your future without being used to undermine the values in the process that you have. And if you're investing through Constitution Wealth, you get certain guarantees about the companies you're investing in. No ESG agenda, no woke corporate entanglements, no quiet funding of causes you'd never support. Instead, they build custom strategies that align with your portfolio and align with your principles, investments that reflect your worldview without sacrificing performance or professionalism. You get a team that understands markets, that understands America, and most importantly, understands you. Because if we're going to restore this country, if we're going to build something strong, to stand up and to deal with what's coming. We're going to need to steward what we've been given, including our wealth. So take action now. Go to constitutionwealth.com/blaze. Sign up for a free consultation today. This is something important you can do really easily, and it's free for the consultation. It's constitutionwealth.com/blaze. 888-727-BECK. It's Pat and Stu in for Glenn today, who's out sick. He actually is going to be talking to, hopefully he's feeling better for tomorrow, because he's talking to President Trump in an interview. If he gets him sick, I'm going to be very upset with him. So he's recovering today. We'll be back on the air, I believe, tomorrow. You mentioned, Pat, a rule I was not aware of, which is you now must be Catholic to be Pope. So this is hurting Jeffy's candidacy for Pope.
Yeah,
in a big way.
He is not Catholic.
So he is not Catholic. So he's probably not going to get elected this time. This did remind me, though, of a story that broke the other day. This is a new rule instituted by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, the Oscars.
Yeah.
A raft of measures were announced by the Oscars governing body on Monday, including the stipulation that, quote, Academy members must now watch all nominated films in each category to be eligible to vote in the final round for the Oscars.
What?
So they now must
They got to see the movie they're voting on?
Yeah, that's...
Oh, wow.
It's asking quite a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot to ask.
Wait, this wasn't the rule? I assume, maybe it wasn't enforced. There's all these reports of they send you the screeners if you're an Oscar voter, and they can tell whether you've watched it or not. And so they can see how much of it you've watched. A lot of people were watching 20 minutes and then just bailing on the movie. It's well, you can't vote. You should at least be able to see the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
But I assumed it was one of those things that they said was a rule, but you just didn't enforce, right? Okay, you got to watch the movies, obviously, to vote. However, we're not really going to check in on you. Apparently, it wasn't even a rule until yesterday.
Oh my gosh. It's amazing.
You didn't even have to watch the movies. No wonder so many crappy movies have won over the years.
Yeah.
People weren't even watching them. They weren't even watching them.
That explains a lot, doesn't it? That explains a lot.
It really does.
Yeah.
What was it Crash that won that one year? And I remember thinking to myself, that movie, I saw it. It was terrible. It was a terrible, terrible movie. And it somehow won Best Picture.
Yeah.
And how? It's because of vibes, right? You hear, this movie's about race. It's sending an important message about race, so that means that we got to vote for it. That's the way this has been happening all these years.
Incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
I'm certain that horrible movie about the trans surgery that happened. I can't remember the name of it now. Did anyone remember it? And remember, it was the trans best actor or actress. I think should have been actor, but was in the actress category. And definitely would have won, but then they found out that he had made previous insensitive jokes about some other protected group, so then that all fell apart. And it's well, wait a minute. Was the movie good or not? First of all, at least the clip I saw was so bad that it couldn't possibly... It should never have won an award. I did not see the entire movie, but I guess I'm like every other Oscar voter until yesterday. But that was the way that they do it, right? There's vibes. We've been talking about trans things quite a bit, so that one wins, right? Well, no, they made jokes about. I don't know what it was. I don't know what group they offended with their previous tweets. But then that was a controversy. So then they lost. It's that didn't change the movie in any way. You realize that the tweets that this transgendered person made 10 years ago didn't affect the movie quality, which, by the way, was low.
I still love it, though, when Hollywood eats their own.
Yes.
That's just good, clean fun right there.
It is.
I love it. Love it. 888-727-BECK. More Pat and Stu for Glenn coming up.